Hello there. Welcome to another combat sports conversation with the one and only Michal Venom Page. Michal, good to speak to you. How are you? How does it feel to be back fighting in London with a rematch, the big rematch you've wanted for a good while?
Yeah. It's been 2 years, so I'm definitely excited. I think it's amazing that it's actually, I've got it in the hometown. I feel a lot of my supporters were with me on this journey. When I lost that fight, it hurt them just as much. And now, they have the ability to, come and witness the redemption.
Yeah. What difference does it mean? Does it make for you? Because first time around it was in the States, wasn't it? And I know Douglas Lima is a Brazilian, but obviously he's kind of lives in the United States. Did you feel the outsider there? Do you feel that the big home favorite here? How does it change?
Yeah, no, to be fair, I didn't really feel that. I felt like people were kind of on the fence. I have quite a big fan base over there as well. So yeah. I feel like people were genuinely just kind of observing and just wanted to see what happens. They, two great fighters, and just wanted to see what would happen. Obviously, for me, the result didn't go the way I wanted it to. But the one reason why I was so eager to kind of get back in the cage with him is because I felt like it was something that I did wrong versus he did correct. So this is why I've been eager to just kind of get this rematch for the last 2 years, been calling him out after every single fight. So yeah, I still think he's going to play a little role that is in my hometown, and there's a story behind it.
When you mentioned that first fight, something wrong that you did, is that your tactics for the fight, or just the instance in which you lost the fight when you were stopped? What's your review of that?
So it's weird. The tactics were completely on point. I think I was doing everything right, every step of the way of the fight. Even when we went to the ground, he had nothing that he could do, nullified completely. My strikes were landing to the point where I rocked him, going with a good shot. But I feel like that almost gave me, I saw the finish line and I got eager to cross it. So after I saw his legs go a little bit, I was like, okay, now I'm going to apply a bit more pressure. But he was still there. And I always say, they say the wounded tiger is still dangerous.
Yeah.
And my distancing, I ended up closing a bit too much and was a bit more reckless with my distancing, which was my first over-eager mistake. And then after I got swept, I was trying to, again, in that process of seeing that finish line and like, no, let me get back up and keep the pressure on him. I got back up like an idiot and obviously didn't remember the rest of that moment until I came back too. But yeah, so a lot of it was definitely those two major points was what turned the fight around and made him win. But up until that point, I genuinely believe that tactics were completely on point. We had him read, and I just needed to continue in a more patient way.
How difficult is that moment in combat sports when you hurt the opponent, particularly something like MMA, where we've seen guys recover and come back and win contests? When you see someone hurt, how do you, is it something you feel intrinsically that this is where I finish it, or I step off for a second because he may still be dangerous? That calculation it has to be instantaneous, does it? It's done with experience, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. But it's weird. What's so weird about this is, me personally, I'm never usually like that in general. There's been many a times where I've dropped my opponents and I stand there and let them get back up. But I just know I've won. Mentally, I know I've won. But for some reason, I don't know if it was just the occasion or being one step closer to, going into the final. Something, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but something grabbed my eagerness and just and made me be that little bit more impatient. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but in general, I know I'm usually more calm, relaxed, chilled, and I just need to go back to that.
Yeah, about being present, people say. Is that the key in there? I mean, when all the noise around you.
And I am definitely so extremely present when I'm fighting, like to the point where I can hear commentators, I can hear their coaches, I can hear my coach, I've spotted people in the crowd, and like I'm extremely present, which is a difficult skill to have. I think it's just from, like, as you say, experience. I've done a lot of fighting combat competitions my whole life. So but again, something caught me in that moment. Something did, and I wasn't able to kind of snap back to it quick enough.
What about the fact that Lima is no longer the champion? Does that diminish in any way the excitement that you feel?
No. It's more about the redemption than anything else. And from the beginning of my career, I have never chased the belt. I don't care about it. I just enjoy entertaining. I enjoy fighting. And I enjoy the fact that I'm in position where I get to do something I enjoy so much and get paid to do it. So yeah, no, that side of it 100%. It would have been nice to have two birds with one stone, but it doesn't change anything. I'm in there more for him than I am for anything else.
Yeah. What do you reflect? How do you reflect on his defeats back to back? Obviously, went up in weight to take on Gegard Mousasi. Probably got a lot of credit from a lot of people for that, and then lost the title to Yaroslav Amosov. Is he a diminished fighter, or is he just come up against two tough opponents? How do you look at it?
I personally think he's just come up against two amazing. Mousasi for me is one of the best MMA fighters in the world. Yeah. And Amosov, somebody that's again obviously undefeated, on probably one of the longest winning records in MMA, and is definitely just a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. But for me, I feel like the reasons he lost is because he's too one-paced. He's got a very slow pace, and he doesn't seem to have any urgency. So even if, for me, everyone's got that kind of almost Hail Mary moment. So if I'm losing up until round 5, I'm like, you know what? I'm pushing all my chips in. I'm going all in, and I'm going to try this. He doesn't seem to have that gear. He's just like, I'm still going to keep plodding away and hope to land that shot, which is not a trait that you need in those moments when you are losing fights. You need to be able to pull something out the bag. So it's just I feel that's his main mistake. He's still an amazing fighter.
Does he not catch judges' eyes enough because of that? You feel that perhaps they don't appreciate a steady pace as much as they remember the intense periods where a fighter's on top. Yeah,
but the thing is, it's more. It wasn't really that he. It's not even that he was doing enough, but was boring to the judges. He just wasn't doing enough. So he was still getting outworked by his opponents, and that's the reason why he lost. And again, if he just stepped up a bit, he might even be able to get a knockout. And even with the Mousasi fight, surprisingly, the leg kicks, obviously he's got an amazing leg kick. Those leg kicks were taking effect, but only in round 5. But again, if he had a bit more urgency earlier on, maybe he could have turned that fight around before, in round 4 and 5, then tried to come back and actually finish that fight. But he's just too slow paced.
Do you fear the leg kicks from Lima? What's your assessment of that? Obviously, it's one of your strengths, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah, no, just don't get hit by them. Like, I fear cars when I'm crossing the road, but I know how to cross the road.
What about is it a title shot next? Is that been promised to you?
The thing is, it's actually supposed to be a title shot now. Amosov decided to take 9 months off.
He's not having a baby, is he?
Yeah. So he decided to say he's not going to fight until next year, and I wasn't going to wait that long. So the next best thing was going to be Lima. The only reason why I wanted to go that way round was just so Lima, when I called for Lima, he couldn't pull out. There was no reason for him to, I'll say, avoid it. But I'm surprised he took the fight. He was happy to, and he took it in London. So it's good.
How have you improved since then? Is it mainly psychological? You said that about the timing and the being present and not rushing in. Is that the main development?
No, not at all. Like we've been putting in a lot of work. I'm way fitter, way stronger, better on the floor, better grappling, better wrestling, and some of my strikes right now. I've got a few things in store.
Well, I look forward to that.
I've got a few things in store.
Time was when athletes, and we're seeing this, Cristiano Ronaldo in football's just gone back to Manchester United at 36. Time was when people got north of 30. Here he is. Yeah. We'll ask you about that in a second. But there was a time when people would say, "Oh, they're past it. They're over 30." Has that time changed? Do you feel that you and Lima are very similar age, are both in your prime now?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's definitely how you treat your body. I feel a lot of people, they get success early and then they start to maybe abuse themselves a little bit. They're out and they do more. They're drawn in by a lot of other external things. I'm always in the gym. We're always training. We're always working. We're healthy out. I don't abuse myself. I don't abuse my body. So I feel great. I feel great. I genuinely feel great. And you can tell by there's always youngsters coming through. And the fact that if they can't hang with me, then I don't care. My body's still just as young.
Yeah, is that where is it? It's more the training than the actual fight night. It's where you get the kind of gauge of where you are.
100%. I always say if you cannot make a training camp, or if you're not capable of doing a training camp to the level that you need to, you're not going to do well in the fight. You know what I mean? And it's the training camp is way more important. I always tell people the hardest thing about our job is the camp. It's not the fights. The fights, anybody can get in a cage and just try to throw hands. Whether you win or lose, that's the easy bit. Especially with the adrenaline rushing through your body, you don't tend to feel too much until afterwards.
Yeah.
But in the training, that's the difficult point.
I bet that's why we admire you so much, like us non-fighters. What about Tyron Woodley? In the past, you said that you'd welcome him to Bellator. What did you make of his boxing match against Jake Paul?
I was disappointed more because I just felt like he just needed to do a little bit more work, and he would have won that fight very easy. He had him on the back foot near enough the whole fight. Obviously, he landed a shot that rocked him, probably would have put him down. He was right in saying he probably would have put him down if it wasn't for the ropes that kind of kept him up. But I feel like you could have landed that over and over again. And even when he had him rocked, he didn't kind of capitalize the way I thought he did. There was no real urgency. Jake Paul should be able to pat himself on the back to say that he was able to not just win the fight, but come out. Sorry, not just kind of see through the fight, but come out on top and actually win the fight. So yeah, it definitely was more credible. It brings more credibility to him. But I would like to see him against somebody with better hands. But I just thought Tyron Woodley would put him away earlier if he did a little bit more work, and I genuinely think he could have.
Well, you obviously have boxing experience as well as the mixed martial arts. Would you consider a sort of celebrity matchup like that against someone like a Jake or a Logan Paul? Or would they not come near you? It'd be interesting.
You know what? These kind of stuff, it's annoying. I get why it's happening. Obviously, the business-wise, there's a lot of money that's drawn in. But just because I thought Tyron Woodley was going to correct this whole crazy world that we're living in right now, just to correct the world, I would definitely jump in and just knock him out. Just so it's corrected, shake his hand afterwards, and then continue doing what you're doing. Yeah. I just need to prove to everyone this is nonsense.
It's interesting that Jake Paul, and you can, I guess, love him or dislike him. People say he's Marmite, but he's had this waged war with Dana White. He's saying he's paying UFC fighters more than they ever get paid on Dana White shows. What do you think? Does he deserve credit for that? He says that people have said independently that he's taken less of the cut than he perhaps could have done.
Yeah, I'm a massive supporter of what he's doing there, and I completely agree with him on that side. Now, I was talking to a friend about it. Now, how many, let's say, football players would you be able to call up and say, look, let's come and play this match over here, and we're going to pay you this, and it would be even interesting to them. They get paid way too much for it you think I'm going to break my leg over there and even risk that? Now, why is it so that why is it that fighters are so eager to then jump ship? It's because we're not being paid what we should be paid in our thing, and this is why. And he's completely right. Nobody would entertain these kind of fights if we were being treated the way we should be treated.
One man who's never been shy of publicity or seeking it is David Haye. You work with him on the boxing front.
Yeah,
he's coming back. He's coming back this month. What do you make of this against the businessman Joe Fournier?
Yeah. I think it's just friends that got into a little bit of a dispute over over dinner, and he's like, "I'm going to prove to you that you should shut your mouth," basically. And fair enough.
Yeah. So you think all power to him to do that? Because this is a funny thing. You mentioned the difference between other sports and fighting. You'd never imagine someone sitting over dinner and saying to Michael Jordan, "I definitely could beat you one-on-one in basketball," or LeBron James, or Cristiano Ronaldo in football, or whatever it might be. Whereas it seems in fighting, there's always that man in the street who thinks that he could get a lucky shot in.
I feel everybody understands what combat is, and they don't respect how difficult and how skillful our art is, because they get it. I had fights in pubs and this and that. It's not that hard. Yeah, but your fights last like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And for the MMA fighters are in there for 5 minutes. Boxing fighters are in there for 3 minutes for 12 rounds. So it's very different. It's very skillful. But yeah, we tend to get a lot of people that like to challenge that, and I'm glad that he's gonna set his friend straight.
Just hope it doesn't get ugly, I suppose, is the key, isn't it? I guess with that.
Yeah, no, I doubt it. That's the one positive thing about these kind of fights is, like, these kind of disputes can be settled very quickly. We can shake hands and hug afterwards, and it's not a problem.
Final football note, Manchester United, you seem very happy about Ronaldo coming back. Is that the missing piece of the jigsaw, or is that defensive midfielder still the problem? What do you think?
Yeah, no, defensive midfielder is still a problem. For me, it's more there's a few things that he does. It's not, I'm not expecting the Ronaldo that, of old. He's not going to be the type of person that's going to be running back and defending. He's more going to be just his experience in terms of how he moves in the box, and he's going to score goals. Cool, that's great. But it's more about what he does with regards to inspiring the team. He's got such a winning mentality. He always raises everybody to his level. And having that, it brings Man United back to those winning mentality. And he brings all these youngsters that are around him and gets them to the level where they need to be. So when he leaves in a couple of years, they still have that. Then they felt that. Also, shirt sales, it brings our revenue back in, because like so many people that are gonna be buying his shirt. I'm gonna definitely be one of them, because I feel like it's a historical moment. I think he just does a lot for the team mentally, more than what he's gonna do on the pitch.
Can they win the league, do you think?
It's still a difficult one, because Chelsea look like a solid squad right now.
Yeah.
For me, they're probably the most dangerous looking at in terms of they got the right players, but they seem organized, they seem structured as well. Whereas Man United don't seem quite structured just yet, but they've got the players, and if they get that structure right, 100% we could win everything.
There you go, everything. What about you? Are you going to win everything? Give us a prediction before you go for Lima. How do you see it going? Have you got a prediction, or is it just a W? I'm gonna
be very, very direct, shall I say, and I'm very dangerous and direct. I'm going to take him out in the first round, or he's going to try to nullify me with like holding onto me or grappling, and then it'll be the second round that he gets put down.
Brilliant, very specific. Really appreciate your time, Michael, as ever.
No
Great
problem,
chat.
man. Always
Speak to you soon. Good luck.